We go. Okay, let's get started then. This is the Thursday, September 9th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Hilton Head Island Parks and Recreation Commission. And we'd like to call the meeting to order. And if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can we hear everybody and see everybody and all that? All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. The other meeting, it was kind of a bad thing. Okay. I'm assuming we're in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, we are, sir.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to do a roll call. Karen, I guess, would you handle that for me?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Mr. Daly?
I don't think he's going to be able to join us today.
Oh, okay. Mr. Dowling?
Here.
Miss Christian?
Here.
Mr. Okarma?
Here.
Mr. Zarilla?
Here.
And Mr. Kasaya?
Here. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Daly sent me a message just a few minutes ago. He is coaching a football team at the moment. So I guess we'll do that. So at this time, we have the distinct honor of swearing in the reappointed Commissioner Thomas Dowling. I'm not sure who's doing that.
Good afternoon, everybody. Diane Bush, I'm staff attorney. Mr. Dowling, if you would, sir, raise your right hand. Repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I'm duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state
that I am duly qualified according to the Constitution of the state
to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been appointed,
to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been appointed,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
and preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state and of the United States.
the Constitution of this state and the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thomas, thank you. We're glad to have you officially back with us. That's
Well,
great.
thanks for having me back.
Yeah, man. All right. Next item on the agenda would be approval of the July 8th, 2021 minutes. And the chair would entertain a motion for approval. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 8th.
Very good. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? I don't hear any, so we will take a roll call vote. And Karen, if you do that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dowling?
Here.
Miss Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Okarma?
Yes.
Mr. Zarilla?
Yes.
And Mr. Kasaya?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is a appearance by citizens. Did we have anyone?
No
wanted to come
citizens
before?
called in to speak at the meeting, and there were no comments left on the town's portal.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Now we'll get to the meat of the meeting, and we have a Island Rec Association update from Frank Sewell. Are you there, Frank?
Yes, sir.
All right. How you
Should
doing,
be
Frank?
one of those group of people. So, well, I just run by a quick update for you on things that have been going on. I just realized by reading the minutes a little while ago that I did not make the July meeting. But as we've come to the end of summer, we started in our fall programming. After school program is going on. We have a little over 100 kids in that program coming over here daily. We have the challenges that are associated with COVID and some of those things that are going on right now in that program for sure, and working with the school. Fitness programs are going well. We haven't seen a really drop off in the gym. We have made some adjustments to our fitness classes. They are now in the gym itself, and we will continue those down there. We've made some adjustments in some open play schedules, but our majority of our fitness classes will be there. Senior programming, I was looking at the last time I talked to y'all, I talked about hiring a director. We have since hired a director. She's actually been with us now for 6 months. Programming's going well. We had a very successful picnic the other day to celebrate Labor Day over at Shelter Cove Park. Went very well, but we seem to be having, several tables of card playing and some other things going on. We're really kind of focusing on fitness with our new director. She worked at, her name is Sherry Bronsky, and she did work over at Sun City in the fitness end of things. So we're kind of excited to kind of promote a little bit more fitness through the senior center and some of the programs that we're doing down there. Both youth and adult fall sports are underway. We're running a men's basketball league. We have some open gym time for basketball and volleyball, and we just keep moving forward on other youth programs that we continue to offer. New thing that we finally got straightened out after COVID and everything is, looks like we're going to be offering some esports games coming up soon, offering a league. After a lot of research, we found the best platform to be on for us. And hopefully that will be successful, and I'll be able to report back on that. Esports is one of the new things. I guess you can make $1 million by playing video games. So, have at it. So that's what's going on. We're going to continue to Party in the Park events that we did this summer. They're going to be on Thursday evenings. We're doing one in September, next Thursday. Mark your calendar, 6 to 8. We'll have Sarah Burns down there playing at the park. We're tying in the second one in October with White Liquor with our Jeep Island and Chili Cook-Off event. And that'll be on Friday night. And then we have one final one in November that we'll have in the first early part of November before it gets too dark out. Myself and 2 other staff members will be participating in the National Parks and Rec Conference. We're heading off to Nashville in a couple of weeks. It's kind of interesting. There are lots of great sessions going on out there, but one thing I do miss is they did not do a park tour, and I found those extremely valuable over the last several years, especially with all the development and things that we've done here with the new rec center and other parks that are obviously in the master planning process. But there'll be opportunities to get out and see those parks that they have there in that community. Finally, kind of switching gears, and I know Taylor's going to talk about master planning, but I know our board is extremely interested in having the commission look at the fact that we need town council and county council to start talking again about having the town become the manager of Barker Field. I think we all feel that, especially our board feels that really the master planning process is really kind of a 4-pronged process, and we have 3 of them. And the 4th would be having Barker Field come underneath the control of the town. And certainly that's something that we would hope the commission would take up and might quite possibly, not at this meeting, but at another meeting, maybe even send a letter of recommendation to town council. I'm not quite sure how that would all work on your end, but can make that as part of a consideration. So that kind of ends it for me. We got up on my soapbox a little bit about Barker Field, but I really think it's something that we need to be discussing. You all need to be discussing it. Ourselves as a board need to be discussing it. It's something that we need to let our council members and the mayor know about.
Thank you, Frank. Does anybody have any questions for Frank? I think the way to do this, Karen, would be to just go down the list again, the roster, and if you call out your name, tell us if you have any comments for Frank or not, and then we'll go from there. That work? Hello? Karen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, if you'll call the roll again, well, if anybody has comments for Frank, tell us that, what they are. If not, just say I have no comment and we'll go to the next person.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dowling,
No comment.
Ms. Christian,
I think you're doing a great job. Keep it up. We love the rec center.
Thank you.
Mr. Okarma,
No comments, except that I agree totally about Barker Field. I mean, it's time that we take control of that thing. I agree.
Mr. Zarilla,
No comment other than I'll third that last comment that yes, I think I'm in favor of doing something at Barker Field. I think it should be done and as soon as possible.
and Mr. Kasayan.
Yeah, thank you. Frank, doing a great job as always. And I would also support the comments on Barker, especially I think maybe we'll hear a little bit about it in a few minutes, but you know, with the Chaplain Park, that being a debris field, you know, when we need it, we need to find a place to do these turf fields that we need to do. And it's looking more and more like Barker is going to be the place to do that. So I think we really need to do something. And if it's okay with the commission members, I'll try to draft a letter to the town council and I'll send it back out to you for you to review in support of the town re-entering those discussions with the county at their earliest convenience to talk about the town going ahead and taking over control of Barker. So, all right. So we're here now with Taylor, and I know we got some park updates and master plan updates. So Taylor, I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, commissioners and any council members and citizens who are tuning in to our meeting today. My name is Taylor Ladd, project planner for the record. Also, congratulations, Mr. Dowling, on your reappointment to a new term. So we're glad to have you staying on the commission with us for another round.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For our updates today on the three major park projects, in mid to late August, the town hosted several workshops, of which you guys participated in a couple. We had several focus group meetings with various stakeholders and interest parties who wanted to just have an opportunity to speak with our consultants about the parks. And then we had an open park day event at Chaplain, and all of this was to kick off these projects with our consultants, MKSK and Wood & Partners. All of the input, which was a lot, we got a lot of good input through this process, but all of that input that was gathered is serving a great purpose and it's being used to further inform and refine the design decisions being made for the parks. So every step of the way, it's been layers and layers and further refining and filtering down to what will be our ultimate final design concepts for the parks, which is very exciting. We're getting closer. So if you were not able to follow any of the workshops, for those of you who are watching this meeting today, or if you couldn't get out to the open house day, there will be lots of other opportunities as we progress through the park planning. This was just the beginning. And I will note that a great way to stay in the loop is to sign up for our monthly Parks and Rec newsletter, and you can do that through our subscription service on the town website. The September issue is coming out very soon. So our next steps, the two design teams, MKSK and Wood & Partners, have recently held a collaboration meeting to review the carrying capacity of each park site for all the various recreation needs and amenities that have been identified and proposed. And they also wanted to ensure that there is a balance of amenities being provided island-wide. So during this discussion, we did hear about some of the other parks on the island, as you know, just it was a holistic discussion basically.
Good.
The good news is we do have a lot of space to work with, and we will largely be able to meet the identified community needs and proposed programming that we've been working with so far. The design teams are still working through some of the specifics, but overall we're on a really good track. For the next several weeks, they'll be preparing initial concept plans for the parks. And when they're ready, we will host opportunities for town officials, Parks and Rec Commission, and the public to review and weigh in on these initial concept plans. And that will be sometime this fall, late October, November, thereabouts. So any questions about the update on the 3 major park projects? Yes, and Karen, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll, we'll kind of go down the line again.
Certainly. Mr. Dowling,
No questions right now.
Ms. Christian,
No questions.
Mr. O'Karma,
No questions, but we had a great workshop. I really liked that opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Zarilla,
No questions. I'm fine.
and Mr. Kasaya.
No questions at this time. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Skipping down the agenda to park updates, I can just keep going. That's all
That's what I was
right.
going to get you to do. Thanks.
All righty, sure thing. I do have a couple of park updates just about some other projects we have going on, because certainly not everything is just about the 3 big park sites. Concurrently, we have other exciting things happening. So I just want you guys to know about that. So the Islanders Beach Park Pavilion is underway. So early this month, September, the town issued an invitation for bids to construct an accessible covered pavilion at the Islanders Beach Park. It'll be constructed adjacent to the boardwalk as you're walking out to the beach, and it will overlook the dunes and beach and the ocean. So this is it's gonna be a really cool addition for Islanders Beach Park. And this project is a direct result of citizen outreach to the town with an interest in providing an accessible space for folks to enjoy the beach. And so we're very glad that we're able to work with that citizen interest and make this happen. It's actually going to be for the good of the whole community who enjoy Islanders Beach Park. So the bid portal closes for submittals on September 30th, and construction on the pavilion will begin soon after a contractor is selected. Now, I definitely want to point out something really important here so that everyone knows that all of the work that went into the Parks and Rec Master Plan and our plan is not sitting on a shelf, because this specific project satisfies our plan Parks and Rec section 4.7 action item 2.4.1. You can look it up. That says, consider the addition of an accessible covered overlook at Islanders Beach Park to accommodate disabled residents, visitors, and their caretakers. So there we go. We have from start to finish something happening. And so we're excited about that. I will be managing that project in my new role with the town's capital projects division. The second park update is Shelter Cove connectivity. Construction recently began in the Shelter Cove area on this project. According to the town's recent press release, the scope of work entails enhancing existing park areas and expanding the parking and pathway connectivity between Shelter Cove Community Park, the Veterans Memorial, and William Hilton Parkway at the new stoplight at the sheriff's office. So Nick's Construction Company was selected as a contractor, and construction has begun. This project is being managed by Shape Roar, our landscape and urban design associate. So I'm happy to entertain any questions or comments about these 2 projects. Karen, if you will. Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Dowling,
No questions, just congrats on the Island Beach Park position. Good luck with that.
Ms. Christian,
No questions.
Mr. O'Karma,
No questions, all good.
Mr. Zarilla,
Only question, Shelter Cove, when did you say that was likely to be completed?
I'm not sure of the construction timeline on that, but they've definitely started work out there. So
Okay.
I can find out and let you guys know.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Kasaya.
I'll echo Taylor's comments. It's good to see that all the work that the commission did and the folks in town with the task team for our plan is actually being used. That's a great thing. So thanks, Taylor.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. I've forgotten it. Was there anything else that I will go ahead and bring you up with?
Yes, sir. Just a quick note for board admin. Your October and November meetings are likely going to be revised based on the timeline our design consultants have for presenting the initial park design concepts to you. So I anticipate your regular meeting that's scheduled for October 14th will be canceled in favor of a project-specific workshop later in the month. And in November, we're currently looking at your regularly scheduled date on November 18th, but we will have a time change earlier in the day to have another workshop with you guys. So that's all I've got. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up about your next couple of meetings coming up. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Taylor.
Absolutely.
It doesn't surprise me. We got a lot of work to do. So if we can have good meetings that are productive, that's what we need. So I don't think we have any unfinished business. So we're running through our agenda pretty quickly here. I'll ask Karen to go back through the roll again because it's time for any park commissioner comments about anything. So this time we'll do that on our agenda.
Certainly. Mr. Dowling,
No comments.
Ms. Christian,
I just actually have one question, and maybe Taylor might be able to answer it. I recently had a citizen of the island ask me about parking issues with Islanders beach parking and how, they pay for that beach parking pass. And when they go, it's so packed and it looks like some of the people don't always have the beach pass sticker on their car. And it looks like people are getting shuttled there. So I guess the question might just be, do we have so many designated spots for Islanders and then so many designated for visitors? And are we allowing like a bunch of shuttles to come in? I mean,
That's a really great question, Chrissy. And I know that there's a higher level initiative happening here at the town to do an overarching review of the parking at the beach parks. And that's part of what Mark Robson, our new beach manager, will be looking at and working on. So I don't have the specific answers for you. And if any staff on this call want to speak up, you're welcome to. But I know that we have, there's Mr. Gruber. I'll let him answer. He's better equipped for that. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How are y'all doing? Good. Yeah, just to address that a little bit, because I know there's been a lot of stuff out there, and every time that something shows up on social media, by the time it travels through 14 different hands, the message is usually a little bit different somewhere down the road. So let me just try to provide some information. So Islanders Beach Park has primarily been used for resident beach pass holders for a while now. However, going back in 2010, as the town was doing a beach renourishment project, in order to qualify for grant funding from the state, they were required to put in place 25 public parking spaces that were not restricted to pass holders. And in exchange for doing that, they received $1 million in grant funding to go towards the beach renourishment project. So certainly not an insignificant amount of money, but those spaces have been in place since, I believe, 2011. So for 10 years now, those have been there. But we understand the concerns that island residents are expressing, but you have to understand that every island resident, as defined by that program, is entitled to buy a beach pass. And when you're paying $30 for a 2-year pass, there's certainly a lot of incentive to go ahead and get one. So I want to say that we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 160 parking spaces within that area. And for this last 2-year period, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6,000 parking passes. So the number of parking passes substantially outweighs the number of spaces that are there. So it really does come down to kind of a first come, first served mentality most of the time. Now, that's not all the time, particularly during the off season. You can usually find a space fairly easily, but during the middle of the summer, particularly on the weekends, that area fills up very quickly. But because we've heard from citizens with regards to the concerns about parking there, we now have paid security that monitors those parking lots just about every weekend to ensure that if you don't have a parking sticker, that you're not allowed to come in and park. So that is something that we've had in place. We will typically have that in place through the entirety of the high season until the demand for parking doesn't become as great as it normally is. And then the issue with regards to buses and things like that, we certainly understand those concerns. And I would probably say that there's a grain of truth to it, that there likely are people who may not be island residents that are coming in and dropping people off. But we also know that there's organizations like the Cypress, which is an assisted living facility here on the island. They drop their residents off at the beach park there using that access. And again, the people that they're dropping off are island residents. So, you know, how you create a program where you can ensure that island residents are going to have access, but make sure the people who are not island residents don't have access. That's what Mark Robson's kind of working on right now and kind of really trying to flesh out. So know that we hear you and we hear the other citizens of the island. We appreciate the concerns. We are looking to see how we can respond to it, but there's a lot of other details that are out there that we've got to keep in mind as well as we go forward and address this issue.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate all that explanation. I'm sure that I'll be able to answer the lady back if she asks me again. So
sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you,
Mr.
Josh.
Aparna?
No questions, except I would like to just say that, you know, the earlier we know about the day, when changes to the schedule and that, the better from my standpoint. I'm sure from everybody's standpoint. So when you know dates and times, please let us know as soon as you know. Thank you.
Mr. Zarella?
Yes, I want to also say it's important that I get the, notification as early as possible. I sure would like to make, all the meetings. And also, thank you, Josh. I thought the 6,000 passes for 160 parking spaces basically sums it up. And I don't know what you can do about it, but I think that's, certainly defines the problem.
Mr. Kasaya?
Okay, thanks, Josh, for bringing that to us. There were a number of emails that went back and forth about the Chaplain Park and the use of the ball field there as a, secondary debris management site. And I don't know if all of the commission members were recipients of those. So I was wondering if someone could sort of take a couple of minutes and just, explain exactly what's happening, why that's the way it is, the rationale for it, and the maybe about, there's a process that we have to go through with the state to be certified for that, so that everybody understands when we start looking at these changes in that park, why we're not going to be putting turf fields there at Chaplain Park. Is there somebody on staff that could give us the 3 or 5 minute overview?
Yep, I'll try to step in and swing on this one as well.
Okay. Thank Josh.
I was just saying, I saw Jennifer right behind me, so I may have jumped a little bit earlier because she can probably speak to this a little bit better than I can, but I've already volunteered. So, yes. So what we have, we have what are called disaster recovery centers. And we have a primary site located at Honeyhorn Plantation. And I'm sure for those of you that were here when Hurricane Matthew came through, you know where these sites are located because you saw them firsthand when they were activated. And the fact that we're a barrier island kind of necessitates that as part of our planning efforts, we have to have some places identified that if we are impacted by a natural disaster, we'll be able to utilize them as part of our efforts to recover from the event and kind of restore the island back to its ordinary condition. And so a part of that is having these sites kind of predetermined and established with the state, specifically through the Department of Health and Environmental Control. And so our primary site is located at the Honeyhorn Plantation. We will use kind of the big field, the parking area that is there as our primary location to process debris. But for those of you that, again, were here when Matthew came through, that was a tropical storm / category 1 hurricane. And I think you all saw how much vegetative debris was generated from what is, otherwise considered a relatively low category storm. And so we would almost most certainly have to activate more than one location. And so that's why we have Chaplin Park, because it exists as one of the only few areas that's owned by the town that is substantial in size and that has kind of a clear area for which this heavy equipment, and that's essentially what you're working with after a storm, is these large trucks that are going out there and picking up these logs and these trees and bringing them back to a central collection point. They're then being chopped up into wood chips and then being loaded up onto trucks and hauled off the island. And so knowing that we need to kind of keep that space available for that purpose should we experience another natural disaster in the future, it limits our ability to make some of those substantial investments into things like artificial turf, because as I'm sure you can appreciate, large backhoes and bulldozers don't mix well with artificial turf. So, the one is just kind of a function of the other. But yes, we have that as an identified disaster recovery site on the island, and we'll likely need to have that available to us for the immediate future.
Thank you, Josh. I wanted to bring that up because I know there've been some comments about looking at other sites that the town might own. And I know there's a requirement that those sites have to be, I think, a minimum of 5 acres. And when you look at that, there aren't any other areas that the town currently owns that they could use. So the reason I brought that up is there have been a lot of comments about it, and I wanted to make sure that people understood that we would like to eventually get to synthetic turf fields, but we got to do that in the right way. And you're right. It'd be great until we had our next storm, and then that's the way it is. So, okay.
And so not only do we have to worry about size considerations, but we also need to worry about things like ingress and egress, being able to have flow of traffic coming through those areas from a safety standpoint, making sure that we can separate that activities from other places that are around the neighborhood. And then there was one other point I was going to make, but it just escaped me. But you're right. There are a number of factors that go into that. And so we've looked at a lot of sites across the entire island, and we really are quite constrained in terms of the number of properties that we can realistically look at.
Okay. Well, I think that begs the question of the town trying to talk to the county about Barker Field, because that's a sizable area that would really be, I think, in my opinion, would be a great place to have a number of synthetic turf fields. But right now we don't own it and we don't have any management of it. So we'll just have to play those cards as they're dealt and go from there. So, but thank you, Josh, for that. I think that's all the comments that we had. Is there any other business to come before the commission today? Anyone? I guess go down the list one more time, Karen.
Certainly. Mr. Dowling,
No additional.
Ms. Christian,
Nope, I'm good.
Mr. Okarma, Mr. Zarilla,
No, nothing here. Thank you.
and Mr. Kasaya.
No, nothing from me. So I appreciate staff's time and I appreciate all the commissioners meeting. This virtual meeting stuff is somewhat difficult. I apologize for not being exactly ready at 3:30. I had a little computer issue, but I thank everybody for being here today. And with that, our Parks and Recreation Commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You too, Taylor. Great job. Thank you.